Hi, I'm Paul Dayball from Niagara College. Today, I'm going to go through this little fundraiser calculator. We're gonna build this little calculator. I'm really going to concentrate mainly on the formulas that are required to make this calculator work. In this piece, what we have is a calculator for raising funds. And this is called a workbook. Every Excel file is actually a workbook, and then you have pages within it, or what they call sheets or worksheets within the workbook. This one has two, and you can see down at the bottom here, it has sheet 1 and sheet 2. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name these sheets. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say rename, and I'm going to call this one details. And on the details sheet, you'll see that I have fixed costs, or costs that don't change depending on how many people attend the event. And then there's actually variable costs, which actually go up per person. Example, for every meal, we have to pay $61.95 in the hors d'oeuvres and the handouts and wines. So those are all variable costs that would depend on the number of people attending the event. On sheet 2, we have the number of tickets sold, and this is actually where the calculator will actually work. So the number of tickets we sold and the cost per ticket, and then the total sales, total cost, and the profit. So we'll be able to do some calculations here. So I'm going to go down here to sheet 2, and I'm going to rename this, and I'm simply going to put in profit. That's kind of what we hope to make. Up under number of tickets sold, I'm going to put in some very simple numbers and the cost per ticket, because these are areas that you would actually be inputting information into. So the number of tickets sold, I'm going to put 100. I'm going to put the cost per ticket at just $10, so that when we do our calculations, it'll be easier later on. So let's start over on the detail sheet. The GST percentage and the PST percentage have to be put in as a percentage, so they have to be a decimal number. You can't just put 5% for GST. Oh, and that's the kind of first thing we should change here. This is going to be a 5, and this will be a 5. Okay, so we'll correct that first. So we have to put in a percentage, so 0.05 and 0.08. You can make it look like a percentage later on and make this look pretty, but for right now, let's just work with that. So PST, to calculate any tax, is nothing more than taking the cost that you're buying the item for and multiplying it by the percentage. Well, you don't multiply it by 5, you have to multiply it by 0.05. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in here equals, and then we will click on this. So it's equal to that cost times, which is the asterisk, and then we're going to click on 0.08 right there. You can see that the colors really help. The blue here matches this blue, the red here matches this red. And then I hit enter, and that number works. There is a problem though, because if I were to take this to 1499.33, you can see that I get 4 decimal places. Some people will just go up to the top and use this right here where it says increase indent or decrease indent, or they'll go to here where it says, this is more what they'll do, increase the decimal or decrease the decimal. If you do this, you're not actually changing the number. You're only changing the look of the number in that cell. The cell actually still stays a 4-digit number. So what we want to do is use our first function. The function for round is set into 2 pieces. And you can see here that it says round, and then it asks you what number you're going to round. Well, whatever this calculation is, C6 times H3, is our number. Then all we have to do, and I'm going to show you up here, I'm going to put a comma and a 2, and then end the formula. We're going to round whatever this number, C6 times H3, turns out to be to 2 decimal places. Let's see if that works. Yep, that works perfect. Here's the problem though. If we copy this down, and we simply copy by pulling on this little corner right here that just duplicates the formula down, it does what is called relative referencing. Now, you see this one is C6H3. The next one is C7, which is correct, but H4 we want to stay as H3. So we need that to be what's called an absolute reference. And you'll see that this one changed to C5, C6. So in all actuality, what happens in Excel is that when you copy something, it actually is just saying that it needs to go to the next one. So as you can see, when I copied this down, it became a problem. C6 and H3 are correct. But C7 and H4, the C7 is correct, we want that to move down, but the H4 we want to stay as H3. So there is a really easy way to do this. You simply have to make it what's called absolute. So you put a dollar symbol in front of the H and in front of the 3. That will force it to stay in the H3. The reason you have to put a dollar symbol in front of both is the H goes for the column and the 3 is the row. So you're locking both. Now when I copy it down, you'll see that it all works because H3 is going to stay the same on every line. That way, we'll never have a problem with it moving. The next formula is much like the first one. It's equals to this times, in this instance, the 0.05. Oh, well, we got to round it. You can see that we have a problem. So we're going to round to 2 decimal places, and that should solve that issue. Well, before we go any further, though, we better put in the dollar sign here and the dollar sign here so that we lock it to the H2 referencing. And now when I pull it down, that should work. This column is pretty easy. So I'm going to say equals to this plus this one plus this one. Oh, don't need that last plus sign. You say equals, and that just adds that up. That's pretty easy. We don't need to round that. These have all been rounded, and we're never going to enter one in here that has 3 decimal places, so we should be okay. And I can just copy that down, and that completes that call. The next is another function that I'm going to use called the sum function. I'm going to say sum, and this time form an array. Now it says down here that you could do a number and a comma and a number and a comma, but that just takes too long. This is a much better way of doing it. This just says sum up or add everything from C6 to or F6 to F12. And you just end that one, and that's the summing up of a function. That can be through thousands of cells if you wanted. Whatever you put in that array, it goes between those two. Okay. This area is a little trickier. This is a subtotal, and it should be the total amount of the meals. And that would be this number here, times the number of people that are coming over on the profit sheet. Now, how we're going to do this, we're going to say equals, and we want to grab this one, times, and now we need to go down and go to the profit sheet and click on the number sold. And you can now see down here that there is a profit with a exclamation mark. And that says on the sheet named profit, go to C4. Now I don't want to click back because that's going to say go to the other sheet. So at this point, I just simply want to hit enter. And it comes back and that is done. Now, we want C16 to change to C17, 18, 19, 20, but we don't want C4 to change. So we put the dollar signs in to make it an absolute reference. There. Now, we shouldn't have to round that one because this will never be more, meals will never be more than 2 decimal places. And you're never going to sell to less than a person. It's always going to be a whole number. So we should never have to worry about rounding here. I'll just pull that down. This formula, I'll just go ahead and do it. It's much like the one I just previously showed. It's exactly like the one I just previously showed. I'm going to round this number times this number to 2 decimal places. And I want to ensure that the H has a dollar symbol in front of it and the 3, so that we lock the column. This one is equal to, and I'll just do the whole formula now. Well, better get that right or it's not going to work. To 2 decimal places and end that formula, and that should work. So you can see that D16 is going to become D17, 18, and this one's going to, G2 is always going to stay the same. I'll enter that. Uh-oh, let's find out what we did wrong. Oh, it shouldn't be G, it should be H. You can see up there, it didn't take that because it said this was a thing, so that should have been H. All right, so subtotal is pretty easy. This plus this plus this, and that should give us that one. Total that down, and then this we've already done once. This is just a sum of this array, and we've now completed the fixed and variable cost area. So we now head over to the profit area so we can actually do some calculations. Well, the total cost of sales is pretty easy. It's equal to this, the number of people coming, times what they paid per ticket. We don't have to round that. This will always be a number with maximum of 2 decimal, and this will never be a decimal, so we're never going to get more than 2 decimals. The total cost, what we're going to do is we're going to go equals, and now we're going to go back to that detail sheet. The total cost is this plus, you can see it up here with being done, plus this. And now you can see the 2 detail ones. And then I do not want to click back to the profit sheet. I just want to hit enter here so that it takes that formula. And you can see that now it's the sheet detail F13 plus on the sheet detail F or G21. And I come back here and I've got that. Profit, well, going to be dismal here, but it's going to be equal to the sales, how much we sold, minus how much we paid out. Oh, this is not good. So now your calculator should be done. 1,000 people at $150 per person, we make $38,000. So that works pretty well. The last one is an if statement. And an if statement is where we get the computer to do some calculation and think for us. I'm going to put the word decide here. Decide. And how we're going to get it to decide is we're going to say if this cell right here, which is the profit cell, is greater than 0. If it's greater than 0, we're going to put the words yes on the screen. And we put them in quote marks because it's saying to the computer, literally put that on the screen. Just put that on the screen. Don't think about it. Just literally put it up there. Now then I put a comma. This is if it's not true. So this is called a logic statement. And in the logic test, we're saying, is this cell greater than 0? Right now it is, so put yes up. But if that cell was not greater than 0, then obviously we have to do something. So we put no. So it's kind of like a switch. A switch. If this is true, this happens. If this is not true, this happens. And then we hit enter, it says yes. But if I were to sell the tickets for $100, it says no. So there we go. Makes it kind of nice, right? All right, I'm going to make it look a little nicer now. I'm going to take this cell and make it larger. I'm going to take all of these cells and I'm going to what's called merge them. Now, the most important thing you can do is under format, you'll see that this cell 1 has the command 1. You'll have that on your keyboard, command, and then you just hit 1. So I'm going to be using that a lot, command 1. In this area, it lets me do all sorts of stuff. I could say what kind of number it is, if it's a number, what the alignment is. Well, on this alignment, you can see, watch this orientation and stuff. I'm going to say it's going to be centered, and it should center in there. And then I'm going to say centered from vertically. So up and down it's going to be centered, and horizontally it's going to be centered. Then I'm also going to merge all the cells together, and it'll make all 6 of those cells one cell, and it'll center it in it, and it'll center it up and down. You can see, there we go. The other thing I could do is I could fill that cell with something. So I could say the background color is going to be like that. There we go. So this area, well, let's say this area right here, I want to put some borders around. So I'm going to go to that thing again, command 1, and under border, it's really easy. You can say outline it, right? Then I could say, oh, here, I just want to click in here. I want thin little lines between that. So I get lines between. You can see that I'll have lines. I may want a thicker border. So I'm going to select it again, and I'm going to say this border, and I just click on each side. You can see that I'll get a thicker border. I can go back and now fill that with a little bit of color. I can now do something with this area. I could maybe put a border around it, put a thin line between it, and I could fill that with maybe a even darker color, or maybe contrasting color. There, I'll do a contrasting color. Now the decide thing, I want the no to be quite large. I want it to say yes or no, so I'm going to make it 22 points. I'm going to get these 2 cells. I'm going to put just a border around the outside, so I'm going to click on this thick border and say outline it. I decided what, and I want it outlined. And then I might fill this with a even deeper. I could even do this, right? And I could go to the font, and I could make the font some sort of a color. Let's say we'll have to go do that elsewhere, because it's not going to let me do it right here. Oh, here's the color. I'll do it right here. There we go. So that's some of the tricks of making it look nice. You can go back here. We could make numbers. So now I can select all the numbers. Go command 1. And I can go to the numbers, and I can say make those all numbers with 2 decimal places. I can do that now. This is not how you want to do it, though, if you've got 3 and 4 digit decimals. You want to do the rounding. But this just makes it look nice, puts all the zeros in for us, makes it look nice. This last row, I could go and say I want that number to be currency, put it into a dollar symbol. So I can say I want this to use this dollar, and I have dollar symbols now. And then I could start working towards making it look nice with borders, some sort of outlining border. Oh, gotta click here and get the outlining border, and then click on the small one and say inside, and it does it for me. Or I can click each one. These I could make bold, let's say. And this one, I'm going to put it all the way across. Command 1. And I'm going to say alignment merge the cells together. It makes all those cells. And I'm going to say I want it to be centered. This is horizontal from left to right. So I want that in the center of all those cells. And then vertically, up and down, I want it centered. And you can see that it's centered that way. And to make the cell bigger, you got to go over here. And then I can pull it down. I could make that type larger. Pull this down a bit more. Okay. I could make all of this bold. So I've got that bold. This is bold. I could pull this over a bit so it overlaps a little bit. I can make this row bold. And then up here, just to make this look nice, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to pull this one over. I'm going to take this and put it on the other side. Align it over there. I'm going to go Command 1. You'll see that it's actually quicker to work with just the command numbers. So I'm going to make this a percentage with 0 decimal places. And there I go, I got 8%. And I'll bold these. I'm going to fill that with some sort of a color. This with some sort of color. And then I'll just fill that with color just to make it stand out. And I think we're done. All right. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, see me in class or email me. Thank you.